Hey guys, haven't done this in a while. A nightly video in this spot underneath this tree. So I thought, hey, why not tonight? So let's provide some perspectives on this idea of, bringing forth children into this world. Now I know, being from the mindset that this world is not the ideally good world, the world of goodness, right, that we are really from as divine sparks, as beings of the one true source, then it would make it harder, or hard at least, harder than it already is, to bring forth children into this world, right? Because you're welcoming them into this place, right? This realm that we are essentially trapped into or tricked into. Now, so here's the thought process, right? The Cathars, for example, were very much against sex, were very much against procreation. Whereas the Gnostics, I'm not too sure what they fully believed regarding that. But of course, we have the idea of maintaining your life force, maintaining your sexual energy, right? Not feeding the lusts and desires of the body, right? So definitely, if you were to bring children into this world, do make sure it's not from only a physical attraction, right? It's not from simply a desire to be with a woman or a man, because that will create, again, the negative manifestation of the energy. The more lustful, the more pleasing, the selfish, self-serving modality, right, of recreation. And there's this idea that there are soul contracts. So there are souls that have been assigned to us, or we agreed to having incarnate into our bloodline. Or they can also just be thrown into the bloodline, sometimes it seems, for the purpose of experiencing the trauma of that bloodline, right? To be incarnated with those limitations set forth onto their life, part of their script. Now, various elites actually maintain their bloodlines, right? More than likely all of them, because they want to maintain their power, their nobility. Whereas the rest of us, not part of the club, we get the trauma, the craziness. And if you've actually noticed, the ones that are not necessarily source players are less likely to experience the trauma in their lives. They have maybe more eventless lives, where they're not necessarily experiencing all the drama, all the trauma, all the chaos, to further fracture their spark, their essence, right? Because that's what really happens here. It's a washing of the essence. Every time you incarnate, you lose a little bit of that spark, of that essence. So you can have these contracts of these beings come in, which you may have agreed to. So there's that to be aware of when bringing forth a child into this world, right? And you never know really who you're gonna get. You're going to have maybe some sort of problem child. Maybe it's going to be a very good child, someone that really complements your life, really brings out the love, or the conditional love, that even that parental love is still conditional, because they're your child, right? You don't feel that way towards someone else's child. You feel that way towards your child because they're part of your lineage. So they can bring that out of you. They can make you feel like you're maybe a better version of yourself, because you become less self-serving and more inclusive of others, right? I've always entertained the idea of love, or not always, but more recently entertained the idea of love as being inclusive or expansive of the self and inclusive of other beings into the self responsibility and dedication, right? But then again, you then become attached to the children. You become attached to their personality, to their lifestyle, to raising them. You have to dedicate that amount of your life, whatever it is, 18 years, to raising them, to making them proper human beings, let's say, right? And that takes a toll on your attention towards awareness, attention towards really detaching from this material illusion, right? Because you have this purpose, you now have another matrix purpose, another fulfillment that you need to be responsible for. So there's that idea, right? But then again, I guess on the more positive perspective, because I'm not trying to convince you for or against, I'm just simply listing my opinions on or multiple perspectives on this idea of bringing forth children and having sex in this world. The number of souls here, or sparks, doesn't seem to change, right? It's the same beings being recycled. Now up there, they don't have access to a physical mind, a physical decoder, let's say, of information. More than likely they are being told what to think, similarly to down here. They're being told how to act, and who knows how much really they have of an input there. Who knows how much really they know of that exists, right, fully. They may only know their own little world, because as we've seen about these holding centers, about these holding grounds, these sparks or souls are put in Earth-like scenarios in which they have to earn a living, they have to pay for their housing, they have to, you know, they may be enjoying time with past relatives or friends or pets even, and they may be just having the time of their lives up there. But all of a sudden, the council, the guides, they come knocking at the door, and they say, you have to go back, it's time, you really need to go down and learn those lessons, right? So they don't know any better than what they're told. But you know, you being a more aware being, learning much more privy information, having more access to, you know, the energies here that may have led you down this path, and all of a sudden these souls come in and you're able to teach them, you're able to provide information, not necessarily manipulate them from a young age and groom them, but when they're old enough, you can say, hey, listen, this is actually how it is down here. Now, you're not here to necessarily save anyone, but, you know, maybe having children is a good option for these other beings. And hey, who knows, maybe even being that you know that you're not even allowed to have children anymore, and somehow things happen and the archons intervene and whatever. You know, some people have better scripts than others. Some people can have children and then they're not allowed to be with them. They get separated from them. They're not allowed to enjoy quality time with their children, while others have perfectly good families and stable relationships with their children. Yet, you know, you are in a position now to provide information, to provide a different thought process that maybe you didn't have. And, you know, instead of being under boatloads of trauma, your household now has more love, more compassion, and more of a well thought out process for educating your actual children. And in that case, you know, the more the merrier, right? The more children you have, the better really it would be for all of us to get out of here, because if we really are essentially all Adam, then I don't know, do all the pieces need to come back home? Or have we all realized it at once? If one piece realizes, then it's like the 100th monkey effect. The collective consciousness all starts to realize, which is what I'm noticing more and more now. So many more people are starting to really entertain this idea, or at least maybe that's what I'm noticing, because that's the people that I'm coming in contact with. Whereas maybe when I was into the whole New Age thing, that's who I was coming in contact with at that time. And I was like, oh yeah, everyone's starting to wake up to the whole New Age thing, right? So maybe that's just a matter of my own perspective, but at least it seems people are really catching on to this idea. And it's affecting the New Age groups, and then it's affecting the religious groups, and then it's affecting maybe the Matrix realm of people that, even if they took the thing, or even if they're not privy to it whatsoever, all of a sudden there's a lot of talk about the Matrix this year, right? And I don't know if I've discussed this on the channel, but I mentioned on my Twitter, 2 + 0 + 2 + 3, 2023 equals 7. 7 is the number of the Matrix. 7 is the number of knowledge, of seeking knowledge. A lot of people really got into chess this year. 7 are great thinkers, really like strategy, logic, things like chess, right? 7 is a lot about philosophy, about thinking, about asking good questions. So there's been a direction of energy that people seem to have picked up on and oriented towards the Matrix. And that's why people like Tate have come out and started talking about the Matrix and things like that, so that he can gear it towards a solution that he has already provided, which is make more money. That's how you escape the Matrix, right? But that's just the physical aspect of it. So back to the children idea. Maybe even adopting would be something like a good idea. I personally don't know if I'll ever have children, in my opinion, but you never know, anything can happen. But it's just an idea that, hey, if you are to embark on that process, know that it can be a very painful and difficult one, with potentially a lot of rewards as well. And potentially you would be, quote unquote, saving a soul from the reincarnation wheel, right? If they so choose to follow your advice, because not everyone will listen, right? So you can't really save anyone because it's on them. So this place really might be the only way out, because up there we can't access this type of information, as we don't have access to the physical brain, to a decoder of information, to an ability potentially to rationalize for ourselves. And we're only more in tune with our emotional astral bodies up there, right? The astral body is the one that holds all the emotions, and we're kind of just repeating remnants of past life emotions. Yeah, short video tonight, just something to think about that I was pondering recently and talking about with some people. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.